Alright guys, so I just got the Eternals. So let's do the review. The Eternals, they are a group of celestial beings that have been around for thousands of years. Their job is to rid the earth of these creatures called deviants. Deviants are a threat to humanity and they must be exterminated. But while they are fighting off the Eternals, they discover a truth. A truth that is very difficult to accept. That is pretty much the story of this film. Now, this film was the most anticipated film of last year besides Spider-Man. The Eternals were new. We didn't know who they were or where they came from. There were a lot of questions. The movie was supposed to come out in 2020, but due to the pandemic, they delayed a year, just like a lot of movies. But there were two questions that I wanted to be answered. Who were the Eternals? So I don't know the Eternals. I don't read the comic books. Maybe I should, but I don't. And how come they never intervened during the Avengers? Why aren't the Eternals introduced earlier into the MCU? Why now? Those are the questions that I wanted to get answered. Now, we're start off with the positives of the movie. I think the action's good. I like the action. Kumail Nanjiani, he's in the movie. He's good in the movie. He's pretty funny. At first, I thought he was kind of cringe, but he was able to bounce off other people. So that made it fun. The post-credit scene I liked. They teased the debut of Blade. So I thought that was pretty good. The interactions between the Eternals were also good. There's a lot of different dynamics with the Eternals. They get along with each other. They laugh with each other. They eat with each other. They crack jokes. They argue. They fight. There's even betrayal. There's even death with the Eternals. And then on one positive, they answered the questions that we got, that I wanted to get answered. Were the Eternals? They're beings that have been around here for thousands of years. Their job is to get rid of the Eternals to make way at the Emergence. And the Emergence was teased in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 by Ego the Living Planet. He mentioned something called an Emergence. Not only that, the Emergence, they are created by a god named Arishem. Alright? Arishem, he is a celestial. He wants to do the Emergence, a celestial expansion process. So he goes to different Earths, and he wants to eliminate the predators so that the planet can get a large enough growth population so that the Celestials can feed off their energy. So he sends in the deviants to the planet. They feed off the predators. Then eventually they feed on the prey and become predators themselves. So then he creates the Eternals to fight off the deviants. Once that happens, the Emergence happens. When the Emergence happens, he takes the Eternals' memories and then wipes them away. We also find out that the Eternals don't intervene in human conflict. The reason why that is because they are not humans themselves. They are cyborgs created by Arishem. I thought that was an interesting reveal. They're creating a robot factory, a celestial robot factory. They're not humans. They weren't born on Olympiad or whatever planet they came from. There's only very few people that know the truth about the Emergence. One is Cersei. She is the lead actress in this movie. There's Ajax. She is the chosen one. There's Icarus. He knows the truth. And then there's Thena. Thena has what's called mind wearing. And mind wearing is a glitch in her system that allows her to remember her previous memories. And that makes her confuse the realities around her. She acts disordinate. She becomes violent. Even the scene where she fights against the Eternals and injures one of them. That causes the Eternals to break away for centuries. Then they come back when the deviants return. So when Cersei tells the team about this emergence, there's a debate. There's a debate on what their purpose is. Do they want the emergence to happen? Do they want the entire world to be destroyed and for their memories to be wiped? Or they want to be free and live amongst the humans? It's a pretty complicated issue. Another thing that I liked about the movie was the flashbacks. We get a lot of them. The BC days, Mesopotamia, Babylon, Rome, Iraq, World War II, Hiroshima. I like that stuff. I like seeing what the world was like back then, how the Eternals interacted with those people. So I thought that was good. And the ending was good as well. We get to the major reveal that Icarus, or he is kind of the somewhat of a villain in this movie. Right? There's a scene where him and Ajax are talking about the emergence. Ajax wants to prevent the emergence, Icarus doesn't. So then they argue. Icarus then leads Ajax out into the woods and throws her off a cliff and feeds her to the deviants. He then shows his true colors to the team. The team is shocked that he killed Ajax. So the Eternals, they split in half. Sprite and Kumail Nanjiani, they all join Icarus, while the rest of the Eternals join Cersei. The ending of the movie, they're all battling, they're all trying to fight each other. One wants to prevent the emergence from happening, the others want the emergence to do happen. But then somehow along the way, they find out the emergence is not a good idea, so they come together, they defeat the celestial Tiamat, which is the celestial seed that's in the center of the earth, and the emergence will not happen. They put a stop to it. So Arsham, he comes, he sucks some of the Eternals up in outer space. He says, you sacrifice a celestial for the humans. I will spare them for now, but I will return for judgment, which I thought was interesting. However, I do think that we're going to get something more out of the Eternals. I think Galactus is coming. I will post a video on this soon. I think Galactus is coming to judge the world. I think both Shang-Chi and Eternals are teasing Galactus. We're getting something big. We're getting Doctor Strange. That's going to be a huge film. They're teasing something. Those are my positives about the movie. The negatives. One, forced gayness. There's a scene where Phastos, he kisses his boyfriend. I don't have a problem with people being gay. When it's forced, I do. Like, they were playing this slow music. They were looking at each other, staring at each other. You knew they were going to kiss. And when they did, it was just, ugh. Now look, I don't mind if two males go full out gay. But if you're just going to kiss like a Prince Charming Cinderella kiss, it's just weird. Same thing when straight people do it. You know, like a Hallmark movie. When a man and woman kiss, you know what's coming. It's just, ugh. So I didn't really like that. Well, there's not really much of a villain in this movie. There's no big bad villain that they were promoting. You know, Iron Man has Ironmonger, Ant-Man has Yellow Jacket, the Avengers have Thanos, Thor is Loki, Captain America has the Red Skull, the Guardians of the Galaxy have Ronan the Accuser. This movie, Eternals, kind of lacked a big major villain to promote. Which is why the plot of this movie is kind of confusing at some points. The placing of the movie is also annoying. They go back and forth. Present, flashback. I'm like, pick a timeline. Do you want to be in Babylon? Do you want to be in Rome? You want to be in the BC days? Or do you want to be in present day? Pick a timeline. Like, you could have told 10 different Eternals movies with all these flashbacks. That really took a huge part of the film. And some people are saying there's no character development in the film. That's the reason why. There's too many flashbacks. Even though I like them, at the same time, they don't really need all these flashbacks. I don't mind one or two. But like 10, that's just too much. Alright, the movie's also kind of slow. The first half of the movie, I was around 5 or 6-ish territory. I thought this movie's okay. But the ending, the second half was good. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Told you the positives, told you the negatives. I like the Eternals. Is it the best movie I've seen? No. Best MCU movie ever? No. Is it the worst movie I've ever seen? No. Is it the worst Marvel movie ever made? No. The worst Marvel movie ever made is Spider-Man 3. As far as the MCU goes, it's Iron Man 3. I don't think anything's going to top those two movies. Because if you do, that's just bad. But it is an interesting film. I do recommend watching it because the Eternals will play a huge impact on the future of the MCU moving forward. Since the Avengers are apparently gone, there's not going to be any more Avengers movies, which I find it hard to believe. But that has been your Eternals review. So I guess I will see you all later.